there will be spoilers for The Acolyte, so if you haven't yet seen the show yet, I highly recommend you do so before checking out this video. The Acolyte is a show that is, pretty weird, and sorry in advance that I do sound sick. The 1 week where I need to record this, I get sick, so that's great. Which really is a representation of the show, because, as the weeks gone by, I just stopped caring about the show, and I feel like that's a good indicator, because The Acolyte is one of the most controversial things that the fandom has encountered, but I'm not here to talk about that so much, because when it comes to the actual show itself, it's just dull. It's not that interesting, it's boring, and the only thing that's good are the lightsaber choreography. Like, that's the only thing that's actually good. Like, I do give them that, which clearly someone else did that, because I believe Leslie Headland, wrote the show, and I'm not trying to blame her for like the writing or whatever, but like it's not good. But it could also be the studio editing stuff, because like I don't know. You could say that The Acolyte made me sick. Like after watching the finale, I like right now I have a headache. Like I just don't care about Osha and May as characters. Like they're so generic, bland, forgettable. I don't know how I remember their names, but like they're just so bland and probably the worst protagonists in Star Wars history. Like they're so forgettable and not interesting because the writing and execution is so bad that you just don't care. Like the start of the show was kind of interesting, but just as each episode went by, except for episode 5. Episode 5 is a good episode, but all the rest of the episodes are just really just boring and just a lot of dialogue. I'm not saying that's bad, it's just it goes nowhere. Next up we have Master Soul, who is probably the worst Jedi that I've ever seen ever, because like but that makes him interesting. He's an interesting character, but he's just bad. He's just a really bad. The Acolyte is basically just this guy messing up these child's life. That's what the Acolyte is, and because he does die at the end, Master Soul, which I'm like, thank God, because he's a terrible person. So, like that, this makes him interesting. Unintentionally, he's interesting, even though the writing and the execution didn't imply that, because they're trying to imply he's like, oh, this great Jedi. He's like Qui-Gon, guys, but it's like, no, he's actually really terrible when you think about it for like a second, which, I guess that goes into my next thing, which like, if you think about the show for basically, a second, you realize that the show does not work at all, and it's just a lot of illogical stuff, and, me mustering up the words to speak on the show is just really difficult to do, because I don't know what to say in, like, positive terms, besides, like, I guess, yeah, because, like I said, the choreography is good, the alien designs are good, I give them that. Some of the locations are actually real locations, which is pretty cool. I mean, I do, like my favorite Jedi is Yord, because he's just a douche, but he's fun to watch, but too bad he gets killed off by the Sith Lord. But my favorite character in the Acolyte is the Sith Lord, Chimere, which he's a pretty cool villain. I like him. And surprise, surprise, he doesn't actually die, which I'm like, okay, that's cool. I mean, you do see a Plagueis cameo for like a split second, though who knows if there's going to be season 2 of this, which I highly doubt there is. The only thing that is worth noting is that my family calls the Acolyte the Alcoholic, which is probably the funniest thing that the show has ever done, because it sounds like the Alcoholic. So, we find out who the Alcoholic is, which is, I believe, Osha, which, I don't know if that makes sense. But whatever. It's just the show is trying to be smart. Like at the heart of this problem of the show is that it's trying to be smart, but it's not, because the writers or Leslie Headland, whoever, doesn't know how to make a show like this. They don't know. Like, they need someone who's smart to actually come up with this mystery / thriller show, and they just did not do. They didn't have the people to do that, so it comes off very poor, but unintentionally really funny. Like, there's a lot of things I laughed at throughout the show, because by episode 3, I'm like, you know what, this is stupid, but I'm gonna have fun with it. I know a lot of people hate the show because it breaks canon and whatever, but I'm like, you know what, I don't care anymore. It's just, the show can do whatever it wants. It's just crazy, it's bombastic, it's like, my god, there's just going everywhere and turns, and, because it's different from The Last Jedi, where The Last Jedi subverted expectations, but the thing with The Last Jedi is that Rian Johnson did it to screw you over, because he wanted to create an experience rather than a movie. But with The Acolyte, Leslie Headland was like, I'm gonna make a show that has all these twists and turns, but she doesn't know how to do that. Or maybe she did, but Lucasfilm in the editing room just completely screwed over her project or her vision. So I am giving her the benefit of the doubt, but very little. So who knows behind the scenes of why the show ended the way it did. Honestly, that's all I can really say about the show. There's really much else to say. I mean, you would think that there'd be a lot more to say, but like, I'm a loss of words. I mean, maybe it's because I'm sick and I have a headache, but the thing that I hate is a very small thing. They say M count, which I'm like, really? The Jedi of that time are not gonna say M count. They're gonna say midichlorians. Come on now. But like, those are just nitpicks. I mean, nothing. Because the problem that the show has is so large that I'm surprised no one intervened, like, to fix the show. Because thematically, it works, but in execution, to show the thematic values of the show, it fails. The show is thematically supposed to show you how the Jedi are gonna fall, but you don't really see that, really, because it's so bogged down with Ocean and May and their witches, and like, I understand why it's like a setup, but like, that's the show is these two characters, well, I guess one character who's split into two because they're made by the Force. You go looking at their journey rather than, you know, the Jedi falling, which that should have been the main thing, but in execution doesn't work, and it's all messy, muddy. So with that out of the way, where do I put my rankings then? The Acolyte goes above the Clone Wars movie, but below the Rise of Skywalker. Yes, this is below the Rise of Skywalker. I can't believe it either, but at least with the Rise of Skywalker, even though both the Acolyte and Rise of Skywalker are pretty similar in terms of illogical events happening, but at least with the Rise of Skywalker, I actually care about the characters. Maybe that's because there's two other movies that you can watch, but with the Acolyte, it's just the worst version of the Rise of Skywalker. Do you agree with what I have to say on this? Because I'm pretty sure most people are going to agree with what I have to say, or maybe not, because, you know, most people don't really see the Acolyte as a fair show to criticize or to praise, because, like, it's stuff that I praise, because there is stuff to praise with the Acolyte, but people don't really want to see that. They just want to hear about the hatred and, like, talk about negative stuff. I'm not here to do that completely, but there is good stuff in here. The acting, for the most part, is fine. It's not amazing. I mean, the actor who plays Soul learned English for the role, which is really, that's dedication. So I'm going to end it here. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm going to go now. So, goodbye, everyone.